G'day everyone, and welcome again to another knife review. We're just looking now at the very well known famous Benchmade knife logo as found on the box of the knife we'll be looking at today, which is the 551 model Griptilian. And as we'll see, it comes in a blue box. It does that because it's one of Benchmade's blue class of knives. I won't go into an explanation of the different classes. By all means, head on over to the Benchmade website. There's an explanation of the different classes, different steels, massive range of knives. You'll lose yourself there for quite some time. So leave an hour or two and happily browse through the Benchmade website. It's time well spent. So this knife we're looking at today is the 551 Griptilian. The Griptilians have been a massive seller for Benchmade. They're a very well known knife. And whilst this isn't an unboxing video as such, I've put it back in the box and I'm going to do an unboxing purely because I think it's worth looking at how Benchmade actually package and present their knives to the customer. This is a company that makes an extremely high quality knife. Yes, you pay a premium for that, but they obviously take a lot of pride in their product and in the presentation of that product. So we'll just open the box up, and the first thing we see is we get a Benchmade user care manual. Just the usual sort of information. In actual fact, there is stuff in there about the different classes of knives. So if you do have a Benchmade and get one of those, I'll save you looking at their website. But you'll go there anyway. Everyone does. Next thing we find is the knife contained in this rather little nice tie bag. This particular knife also has a couple of these little things here which explain the axis locking mechanism, which we'll talk about more. The box itself, you can see, foam insert to keep the knife in place. So we'll open up the little bag, which comes, I'll have a quick look at it first, Benchmade screen printed on the outside, nice classic silver against the black, and it's got a little toggle on a drawstring there. So we open this up, bring the knife out, there's one more layer of packaging to go, we're nearly there, plastic bag. So we'll move all that off to one side so we can concentrate on what we really want to look at, which is the knife. But I'll say the packaging on these and the presentation is really first class. When you open the box and get a Benchmade knife out, you know you've got a bit of quality before you even get to the knife itself. So onto the knife. This particular one is a satin finish, plain edge. These knives are also available in a black finished blade and a partially serrated model. The serrations, as per usual, are towards the rear section of the blade. You also can get some other coloured handles. Of course, this is the black. There's also an orange, there's an olive drab, and I see recently they've added a sand coloured handle to the lineup, which is, I guess, similar to the coyote brown. It seems a little bit lighter than that. And they're available for all the different blade and serration, non-serrated options. Primary use for this knife, it's larger EDC, I guess, hiking, virtually anything. This is a knife that would be at home in almost any activity that a folding knife will do for you. As mentioned, it's the axis mechanism. I've covered that in a little bit more detail in another review, so we won't go deeply into it. Most people are familiar with it. What is there to say about the axis except that it's basically brilliant. Extremely strong, extremely fast. Now this knife has had very little use, but you can see it snaps out there. I haven't adjusted anything. And you can hear that beautiful audible click when it goes in, and indeed when you close this knife. It reminds you of a well-built car. When you close the car door, there's that solid sound that it makes, and these knives are no different. You can just sense the quality about these knives as soon as you put them in your hand and you start using them. I could wax on prophetically about that for ages, but I won't. We'll have a quick close-up look at the blade. It's a very nice finish. They call this a satin finish. Of course, there's again the Benchmade logo. You can see they've got dual thumb studs, a little bit of a thumb ramp, a little bit of jimping. It's not as sharp as probably Spyderco's jimping, it's reasonable to say, but it's effective, and that extends down onto those liners. Also on the subject of jimping, some down the bottom too on the liners. Not too bad, they work, you can feel it there and they hold you in. The other side of the blade, we'll have a close up if I can get the camera to focus. 154 cm steel, you can see just up near the thumb stud, that's the steel type, and it's designed of course by Mel Pardue, who I've got two of the knives designed by Mel Pardue. I don't know much about the gentleman, but I do know he knows how to design a knife. They're just brilliant. You can't say anything bad about it. The knife blade is a sabre grind, so unlike the 527 knife, which I'm going to use as a pointer, which is a hollow ground, this is in fact flat ground from here to here. And then of course you've got your section up here. Good, works well. A little bit stronger, of course, than hollow ground, but it's a very sharp knife out of the box, and you cannot get too far on the blade shape. I guess you'd call it a modified drop point. Well, that's certainly what Benchmade call it. It could probably almost be classified as a clip point, but it is classified as a modified drop point blade. Very nice looking blade. Thumb ramp, and then it just swoops away beautifully down to the point. You've got this false edge up here on the top. It's a beautiful piece of design. Just love it. Could look at it for hours. The blade itself is 3.45 inches long, which is 87 millimeters. The knife overall, when it's opened, is 8 inches long, or 204 millimeters. Closed length is 4 5/8 of an inch, or 112 millimeters. The weight of the knife, 3.9 ounces, 110 grams. So it's quite reasonable weight for its size, and it's really not noticeable when you're carting around in your pocket. The handle material is made of a material called Valox, V-A-L-O-X. Google tells me that is a form of thermoplastic polyester resin, and Google's never wrong, so that would be good information, I'm sure. It's quite a hard material. There's no give, there's no rubbiness to it. It does, of course, have this textured section on either side, and the grip's quite good. Given that texture in there, and also, as you can see, the shape of the blade, particularly if it's a little thumb ramp, if you like, or finger ramp down the bottom to stop you going forward, and this thumb ramp on the top, grip on the knife is just not an issue. So it does live up to its Griptilian name. You can, of course, choke further up on the blade should you need to get past that thumb ramp for detail work. Generally, it's a very comfortable, well-designed handle. It's quite a thick knife. I guess that's due primarily to running the full-length liners. It's thicker than a lot of other knives. But again, whilst that's something you'd notice perhaps in your pocket compared to other knives, in the hand, it just fills the hand nicely, and realistically, that's when you want your knife to feel good, is when you're using it. So I don't mind that in the least. So I haven't used this knife a lot. This really was a knife that I bought not that long ago. It's probably going to be a little bit of a queen of my knife collection. It may get some use down the track, and I'm sure it'd suit whatever purpose I put it to. The lock up on the blade, we'll just have a quick look there. It's tight, as you'd expect from Benchmade. There's no movement either way on that lock up, and that's nice. Talking about the knife a little bit more about carrying it, as I say, a little bit thicker, so you'll notice it. The carry options are, see there, it's tapped out on that right side, which is where the clip originally was. I've moved to the left because I'm a lefty, and that's a terrific thing Benchmade generally have done for most of their knives. It is suitable for left and right. However, there's no holes up the front there, so it really is a tip-up only carry knife. Suits me fine. I prefer tip-up on all my knives. That way I've got a standard system. I know some people, some knives they do tip up, other knives they do tip down. For me, having one system, because I'm a little bit slow, I know that my knife, whichever knife I'm carrying, is going to come out the same way every time. And that just helps me to get my deployment right. Quality of this knife, what can you say? It's a Benchmade. The quality is very, very high. Just flawless fit and finish. Beautiful knife. Value, it's always a bit of a, I suppose, a debatable point with Benchmade. There's people who love them and people who think they're too expensive. I've got 2 Benchmade folders and 1 fixed blade, so I guess I consider that they're worth the money. But again, that's a judgment you've got to make for yourself. There's certainly competitive options out there that are probably half the price or less that would probably do much the same job. But again, if you're looking for some quality, you're looking for a very well engineered knife, maybe you're just looking for a knife that gives you that lock up, that feeling of engineering and stability and just strength, then it's probably worth the money to you. But that's, again, personal decision. I consider they're good value. I wouldn't say they're outstanding value simply because, as I said, they are expensive. You're paying the money for these primarily because the design and I guess the axis lock mechanism. Actually, for me, that on its own is worth the extra money. I absolutely love the axis lock mechanism. I've said in other reviews that for me it is the pick of any folding mechanism that's out there at this point in time. Superb piece of engineering, great idea, and there's only one place you can get that, and that is over at Benchmade, so you pay the money for it. In conclusion, the Benchmade Griptilian series knives are a premium knife, and yes, you will pay a premium price for that. There's a wide range of different blade shapes and finishes, and there is really a flavour to suit everyone. If you're looking for a knife as more of an investment, and you're prepared to spend an extra little money, these knives will be a highlight of your knife collection, and you'll enjoy using these in everyday use. I hope you've enjoyed the review. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to leave comments, and see you on the next one. Bye for now.